Hey, YouTube, how are you? Well, welcome to Alta Love TV. I'm MJ Robertson. I'm the founder of Alta Love and also the author of the Fearless Life Guide. I'm being guided to share a lot more after a really intense transformational year and certainly just like intense life path, certainly. And things continue to expand in miraculous ways as the human collective energy field, or you could just say the collective consciousness of humanity, continues to awaken. And being a part of that awakening, I can honestly say that life takes on incredibly awesome horizons and manifestations, and it is awesome. It's also incredibly challenging at times, and riding the waves of our own journey, of our own storms, and of our own processes is wild and uncomfortable. It can be really uncomfortable. So, this share is about the spiral of life and how this, what a lot of people call the awakening, how this mass awakening to me is about how our own perspective is essentially rising above the illusion of a linear lifespan or a linear timeline. The transition ultimately is shifting the perspective to a spiral so that we're kind of like going around in circles. Now, ideally, we're not just going around in circles on one level. We're actually rising. So, like, the spiral is always going up the spiral or it's going down a spiral, depending on your point of attraction. So, if you choose to perceive through fear, separation, division, then the spiral is going to be going a downward spiral. If you're choosing a perspective of love, unity, compassion, then you're going to be going up a spiral so that your life and the perception of your spiraling life, although we can still perceive it in a timeline, it's gonna be like your life gets better and better. That you could even embody the truth of becoming more and more radiant, becoming more and more enlightened and healthy and beautiful and prosperous as well. So, this is a natural evolutionary process in as much as when we choose to realize and embody our creatorship status, or you could say when we choose to embody our own divinity. And that divinity comes through a recognition that you are everything that you perceive, and it is a choice. And becoming a conscious choice maker is, one and the same as embodying more and more aspects of your own truth. Now, so much of the, like, I guess you could say spiritual communities, or even like indigo light worker stuff, light worker, that's an example. It's laced in like this love and light, and everything is super, just light, and so I think sometimes it has this sort of like fluffy connotation, and that's okay. However, it's more than likely the case that depending on the frequency someone is embodying, all of it just seems stupid and airy fairy, and it would from that perspective. However, if you're inspired by it in any such way, or any part of you desires your life to be lighter, to be more loving, to be more prosperous, then at some point along the journey, you're probably going to want to make this shift. You're probably going to want to become more aware of what you're thinking about. You're going to want to become more aware of what you're vibing. Or, you know, vibing is really just about feelings and how we're able to move through the different emotions that we carry and embody as unique individuals. And yet, a lot of times initially, we can snap judge different communities or different people, like, oh, they're talking nonsense, or oh, it's easy for them because whatever. And yet, each and every one of us is here to teach each other and to show and to guide one another, whether we're guiding each other in what we don't want or guiding each other in what we do want. We're all totally valuable and valid and unique in what we're able to share with one another. Now, for me, a lot of what's guided me is my own desire to feel good and beautiful in my own form, but also having massive compassion was to end suffering, was to bring more abundance or more love, or really more love into the world, to help people change the perspective from that of valuing possession and valuing power over structure. And power over structure really means us against them, or like some people have the right to dominate over other people. And to me, seeing through that, it was actually about bringing light to the fact that our true abundance comes from, you know, love and respecting one another. And our true abundance actually comes from the simple things in life. And it's not that luxury is bad, and it's not that money is bad at all. It's the fact that having more doesn't make us more happy. Our true joy comes from our interactions with one another and our connectivity with the truth of who we are. That source point connection is always what brings us back to wholeness and brings us back to the truth. And so anything that isn't aligned with that essential core truth in that spiraling way, which is why we can often see a repeat of patterns, is that anything that doesn't align with that truth will continue to rise to the surface to be revealed and let go of. And depending on how much we're buying into the illusion of reality, then it can be more difficult to ride those waves out, or to detach from, well, the attachment to it. So detach from the pattern itself, or detach from what we think we're creating. Usually I'm talking about the uncomfortable stuff. So creating a weight gain, or creating a lack of money, or creating a relationship falling apart. When we create those less comfortable, or more like less harmonious situations, it's an opportunity to see them from another perspective, but to also own them as our own creation, witness the pattern once again, look at it, not buy into it, not attach to it as much as maybe the last time or the time before, and then ride it out. And we can sustain certain manifested creations really to test ourselves, to test our ability to not give it much attention, or to not buy into that reality as we think we've created it. And that's the language there. Think we created it is that our thoughts are really potent creations in and of themselves. And so, for example, in this transition for me, it's been important for me to share more, to continue to ride them out and not give in to the old patterns that are surfacing. And yet, what I'm witnessing, especially with the potency of this recent full moon in transition and phase, is that I'm seeing every single pattern. So I manifested a new life last year, and then this phase is upturning everything that I carry vibrationally speaking, emotionally patterned wise, karma wise, everything that I'm carrying that doesn't fit in to that new life that I'm desiring, that I'm choosing to create and have been living for a while. So that anything at this little phase, it's like I'm having to go over. I have to go over every time I chose to not like myself. I have to go over every time I chose to buy into that less desirable creation instead of the truth of what I know for myself, the truth of how I choose to create my body, my life, and my extended reality. And so every single time, like, it's not like it's again, it's not linear, it's cyclical. It's like in any given moment there's a new memory, and there's another memory, and there's another memory, and yada yada yada, right? So looking over past relationships, looking over past patterns, looking over, well, certainly relationship to the reality itself as well. Every single one of us has the ability to choose consciously our desired reality. It's just that, again, the whole spiraling pattern thing has relevance to how we're able to process, transform, and rise as a collective as well as individuals, because we are here in service to one another and in service to the planet. How we interact with one another is incredibly important, and also how we gift one another with the insights that we're revealing to ourselves as and when they come through. Again, which is why my new path is sharing more through vlogging and through writing, and obviously through the book, through the Fearless Life Guide, and through the tribe, is that was the new life I've created. So everything that isn't aligning with that is going, or I'm being asked to let it go and then continue to share. So if I'm desiring to share, I have to share more, which is why even in the recent shift, I've been now sharing live on YouTube, live more on Facebook, live more on the Fearless Life Tribe, doing that which I desire to do, sharing from the truth of what I am. So I don't plan any of these talks. It's literally just press and go live and letting come through whatever is meant to come through, having faith that the transmission is relevant to the pocket or to the one person or those two people, whomever choose to engage or clock into my unique vibration. And so hence, the more we embody our authentic truth, the more we embody the essence of who we are, the more we can shine light for the people who unconsciously or consciously are seeking their guides, or seeking the light that matches or reflects back to them more of the truth of who they are. Because we're shifting away from a limited, rigid system which pioneered us to this point, and now because of its rigidness is collapsing from underneath the nature of evolution, the nature of a continual expansion and ever flowing change, right? If anything we create, we want to try to stick it in place, eventually it will crumble and fall, because that's not, everything is always vibrating, everything is always moving. And so we're having to break free from those systems of control so that we can feel into the truth of who we are, gain access to higher level, more advanced technological wisdom and more advanced inspiration, so that we can implement new, more fluid forms, structures, and systems that serve the collective, that serve the human beings on this planet and the planet itself in a much more harmonious way, in a much more expansive way, so that everyone can feel into abundance. And of course, if that's not that desired timeline, that timeline in creation will go down another path. It's all welcome in the universe. It's all allowed to be there, because the universe and the source energy of creation is infinite. So there's infinite timelines and infinite parallel dimensions and realities. However, those of us that are perceiving in this planet Earth timeline are perceiving a creation of a new reality and endeavoring to live through an embodied transformation in physical form. And so we're choosing to have this experience as individuals, but as a collective, from separation into unity, or from fear into that of love. And it really is, because it's so beautiful to be in that fearful place and then suddenly acknowledge your transformational power as a divine being, and then to live through that and then be able to live in your desired, loving, vibrant, radiant state. It is such a miraculous journey that why wouldn't we want to have that kind of experience? Why wouldn't we want to be able to go from this like, oh no, into like, I am this beautiful, amazing creator and I get to choose. And then once we choose and keep choosing and eventually realize that, why would you ever go back to the other reality? And living through another test phase, it's like, that's why I have to share more, because I have to continue to be where I choose to be, not where I'm thinking in my old pattern state. So it's very paradoxical. It's very multi-dimensional, all of this stuff. And as soon as you tap into it, you kind of get more and more and more of it. You start to feed different channels. You start to make more conscious choices with regards to what you consume and what you engage with. Of course, I'm not talking consume as in just like what we put into our mouths. It's everything that comes into our reality. What environments are you engaging or consuming? What information, i.e. through TV, through media, and through other people, what information are you allowing into your energetic fields? And so being a lot more discerning and diligent with what resonates with you and what feels good with you is all part of the sovereignty divine path. I think that's it for today, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. I do regular live. If you ever want to know more about Alta Love, visit altalove.com. You can also find me on Facebook, MJ Robertson, or Alta Love World, and also on Instagram at Alta Love. So I hope that was useful to you. Love you loads. Om, peace, peace, peace. Namaste, everybody. Speak soon. Bye.